Hi everyone, Virago here to share my TBR for Dewey's 24-hour readathon. As you can see, I am not in my normal space. I am actually in my bed, which is where I will spend the majority of the readathon because it's just comfortable for me, and also it's where I'm going to get the most privacy because if anyone's home, sometimes they tend to they need me. They always need me for something, even though they know I'm doing a readathon. I'm apologizing for the shaky camera as I'm in my bed. I don't have anything steady. Everything's going to shake around. So Dewey's 24-hour readathon. I have been doing it for about 5 or 6 years. I can't remember the first year I did it. I just know that the first one I did was in October. October is just, it's one of my favorite months because my oldest daughter was born in October, so obviously that holds significance for me. I am the biggest Halloween fan. That is my favorite holiday. I love it more than any other holiday. Orange is my favorite color, so of course there's lots of orange, and of course the leaves start turning orangey, and just everything's orange for Halloween. And I love everything like spooky and horror. This is just the perfect month for me, so it's the perfect month to do a readathon. Typically when I do an October readathon, I usually stick to horror, thriller type books. And lately, the last few readathons, I've kind of been a procrastinator and I've put my TBR together at the last minute. I've had some ideas of what I wanted to do for the readathon, but I never really nailed it down until literally today. So that's what I'm going to share with you. The first book, I'm not going to read anything in any order except for the first book because it's a book that I have started reading but have not had a chance to really get into and finish. So the first book on the readathon list is Alice by Christina Henry, which is a dark retelling of Alice in Wonderland. Now, I did not really enjoy the original Alice in Wonderland book. Maybe it's one of those things that I have to reread, but it didn't really do anything for me. But I'm really digging this retelling. I haven't gotten very far in it, as you can see, but the bit that I have read, I'm really, really getting into it. So I'm looking forward to finishing this off. Next is the Red Queen by Christina Henry, which is actually the sequel to Alice. And I believe there's one more book in this series coming out, which I'm really excited about. Because if Alice continues to be as good as it is, then I can only hope that Red Queen is also as good, and then, the next book in the series. Next, I don't know if you're sensing a theme, is Lost Boy by Christina Henry. She does retellings, and they're usually dark, so I figured if I started one and I really enjoyed it, I might as well just keep going through the stack. Next is The Girl in Red by Christina Henry, which is the retelling of The Little Red Riding Hood. And next is The Mermaid by Christina Henry, which is obviously a retelling of The Little Mermaid. So those are like my novels that I have, and I may not get to all of them. I'm going to at least finish Alice. I may even get to Red Queen. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get to the other ones, but I might because I'm a mood reader, so sometimes it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. So to give myself a little bit of a switch up and also a little bit of a break, I've added the Army of Darkness Omnibus Volume 2 to my TBR. It's more visual than reading. I mean, obviously there's plenty of reading to do in a graphic novel, but it's more visual, so that kind of gives you a little bit of a break. Sometimes you gotta, break up that monotony. And if by some chance I get through that, I've got Army of Darkness Omnibus Volume 3. And then I also have one more graphic novel, which is the Lost Boys graphic novel. Now, I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, love 80s movies, love 80s music, just love all kinds of 80s things. And The Lost Boys is one of my all-time favorite 80s movies. I watched it, I think, every single day, probably twice a day for an entire summer. I actually had a girlfriend from elementary school that we both loved the movie, and we used to call each other. I know this is ridiculous when you actually called each other on the phone, and we would watch the movie together because, I would spend summers away sometimes. And I could pretty much probably do the movie verbatim. It's ridiculous. But when I saw that there was a graphic novel, of course I had to get it because I love the movie. The next is a novel, but I picked it for several reasons. It's The Watchers by Dean Koontz. I picked it for several reasons. One, because it's on my TBR for the year. I'm a big fan of the movie, which also starred Corey Haim. And I've actually enjoyed Koontz's books, but I also have an audio book of this book so that when inevitably my eyes get tired or I just get tired of holding a book, I can just switch over to the audio book and I'll still be reading. Or if I get busy, just doing random things around the house, I can put my headphones on and I can still get reading done while also getting things done. The next couple of books on my list, if I get fancy, I will put little graphics of the covers up in the corner, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to do that. They are also audiobooks. The next one is Nosferatu by Joe Hill. For anybody who's read his work, you know that he is every bit as good a writer as his dad, and his stuff is just really creepy and spooky and just fantastic. So I have an audiobook of that. I also have an audiobook called Carmilla by J. Sheridan LaFanu. It is one of those Audible originals that are like exclusive to Audible. And if you're an Audible member, you know that every month you get like 2 free books to choose from of their Audible originals. I Can Talk Today. And that was one that I chose because it was horror, but also because it's narrated by David Tennant, who was not my favorite doctor. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. 10 was not my favorite doctor. 9 is my favorite doctor. He will always be my favorite doctor. But I do enjoy David Tennant, and I love his voice, so of course he's going to be great at narrating. And then the next, which is actually the last book on my list, is called The Darkwater Bride by Marty Ross, which is the other Audible original that I chose for either September or October. It's also a horror. I can't remember what it's about. I just know it's in the horror genre, and it's an audiobook. So I've got a little bit of everything. I've got novels, I've got graphic novels, I've got audiobooks. This will get me through the read-a-thon. I'm not sure that I'll do all 24 hours. I haven't actually done all 24 hours in a little while. I usually, lately, I'd say like the last 3 or 4 read-a-thons that I've done, I've gotten through anywhere between 20 to 24. So, I mean, I'm doing a lot, but, sometimes, you get too tired and, I'm getting on in years, so I can't hang the way I used to. But I'm really, really excited about the read-a-thon. I'm hoping to get some vlogging in throughout the read-a-thon. I don't know that I will do where I've seen other people when they do read-a-thons, they video themselves reading and then kind of do a time-lapse thing. I don't know that I'll do that. Usually I also blog, and I blog about... It varies from read-a-thon to read-a-thon, but the last time I did it about every 6 hours. So I did hours 1 through 6, and then so on and so on. And I did like an update of what I'd been doing, like how much I'd gotten read, how many interruptions I had, if I had any snacks, things like that. So I will try to do the same thing that I do on my blog on this vlog. I haven't even gotten my snacks together yet. I've just really, really procrastinated for this read-a-thon, even though I knew it was coming up. I had plenty of time in advance to get everything together. I'm a procrastinator. I mean, we all get like that. But I'm hoping in a little while I'll get my hubby to drive me to the store so I can grab some snacks. The only thing I really have right now is like some Tate's cookies. And I like to do a nice mix of healthy and unhealthy. So, I'll try to get some fruit and, maybe some veggies and maybe like some pretzels or goldfish crackers, things like that. That's usually what I snack on. And some Pepsi throwbacks, which are now called Real Sugar Pepsi. I was a bit of an addict. And I was drinking like 2 or 3 of those a day, and I had to kind of cut them out. But I do allow myself to have some when I do a read-a-thon. So that's my TBR. That is my plan for Dewey's 24-hour read-a-thon. My goal is to get to at least 4 books. That's what I'm hoping for. I know I'm going to get through Alice because I'm determined to finish this book. And I will probably get through The Red Queen because it is the sequel to Alice. And then after that, it's anyone's guess. Maybe some audiobooks. Maybe I'll get through the rest of the Christina Henry, or maybe I'll switch over to the graphic novels. I don't know. But that's my TBR for the read-a-thon. For anybody who's participating, I wish you the best of luck, and more than that, just have fun doing it. Anyone who's not participating, just pop onto Twitter. The tagline is read-a-thon, and just, cheer people on if you feel like it, or just kind of check out what we're doing, because we do a lot of stuff on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So that's where I will be also throughout the read-a-thon, so you guys can check me out there. And I do believe I have the links to all of my social media in my profile. So that's my TBR, as I've said like 5 times, and I hopefully we'll have a great readathon, and happy reading to everyone, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, because the readathon starts tomorrow, Saturday the 26th of October at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know that I'll be starting on time, but that's when it starts, and I'll see you guys all then. So until then, happy reading.